You know, we came through the Depression in the 30s, which was awful, tough, hungry days, rid out of houses, furniture put out on the street. But my mother fought that thing like a Trojan. She was quite a soldier. She worked and fed us and kept us in a house, what they called a shelter back in those days. And the winters were cold because we didn't have as many buildings as I have now and businesses in the city of Memphis. And that air off that Mississippi River would cut your limogate. But the church and the church people have always had me in their hands. There are many people who fed me when I didn't have food at home. I know what it is to be hungry, to need shoes. I know what it is to not have a house to live in because they had set out little furniture out on the street because my mother couldn't pay the rent. I know what a hard time is. The 30s were tough, but I always found a way of doing something to help my mother. When you read of the great flood they had back there in the 30s, and when people were flooded out through Arkansas, Mississippi, the Mississippi River overflowed. And I was out on the front street with the poor children, and I didn't have a ticket. And do you know I sang my way in there? I could hear them singing in the auditorium. And I would sing on the outside. That wind was cutting, but I sang. And the police went in and got Miss Campbell, who had a choir to sing when they give the poor children a bag. And in this bag had a pair of jeans, a shirt, and a sweater, and a couple of pairs of socks, and a great big sock with peppermint candy and fruit in it. And the police stood there and listened to me. I didn't pay no attention. I didn't know he was listening to me. Went inside and got Miss Lucy Campbell and brought her outside and said, "What do you hear?" She says, "I hear an angel singing." And he said, "If you don't go and take him in there and let him get a bag, I'm going to put you in jail." She says, "If you don't get him a ticket, I'm going to have you fired." One of my cousins, which was white, and because she was colored, but the families mix in places. And she says, "If you don't get him a ticket," she took me in. He got the ticket. I might sound a little backward at times, but I'm doing the best I can. Took me in, and I sang for the children. And they gave me Mr. Joe Brennan, who was president of the Memphis Power and Light Company. This was his time to give the toys and gifts to the poor children. They gave me 2 bags, one for me and one for my brother Van. And Mr. Joe Brennan, we didn't have coal at home. Sent 3 turns of coal. We lived in an alley there off of Main Street down from the auditorium. 3 turns of coal to my mama's house. And the people, our next door neighbors and things, would wait till we go to sleep. And they would, of course, help themselves. And I said, Mama, somebody's getting out cold. She said, go on to sleep, Robert. They're cold too. But you see how the Lord worked it? That I sang and got the coal, and I didn't have an apple or orange at home for Christmas. And that Christmas I had a good time and gave my family a good time. My mother and my brother and myself.